going to start the 8 o'clock hour talking some golf. Doug Bell with the PGA Tour Radio joins us. Doug, great to talk with you this morning. How are you?
Hey, Chase, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me back on, and you caught me at a good time. I got back from 2 weeks in Hawaii, and now on a plane later today going out to Palm Springs for the American Express, so good timing on your part.
All right, well, good. Great to have you on, and I was going to ask you, hey, how is Hawaii? I mean, you get to spend a couple of weeks out there watching golf, watching some great golf. How was Hawaii?
It was incredible. I don't do that every year. You know, our team, our PGA Tour radio team on Sirius XM, we rotate, obviously. We send 2 guys out, and you stay for 2 weeks. And we're kind of on a 3-year rotating schedule. So this was my time, and it was fantastic. Maui is an incredible place, and the people there are amazing. They are bouncing back from their situation that happened a little over a year ago. As we kind of monitor what's going on in California, Maui experienced that, and they're coming back, and it's great. And then we went to Honolulu, which is hustle bustle. It's kind of a small, big town. And if you're ever down by Waikiki, thousands of people are walking up and down all day, all night. But it was great. The weather was wonderful, and the golf was really, really good. The second week there at the Sony last weekend, on Sunday, it goes to extra holes. Nick Taylor wins in a playoff. So if you're a golf fan, a fan of the PGA Tour, the season's gotten off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, and that's why I want to bring you on. Look, I'm a golf fan. I know a lot of golf fans listen, and we keep up with the PGA Tour and everything. And so to you, just in the first couple of weeks, and I know we'll see more different players out there and as we get into different tournaments, but who would you say are some golfers to watch, maybe that you've seen in the first couple of tournaments for the year?
Well, obviously, that first week, Hideki Matsuyama, who American golf fans are getting to know. I mean, he's a superstar, global superstar, and he set the 72-hole scoring record at 35 under par, which was amazing. To think that a guy goes 35 under over a 72-hole tournament, I mean, he scored on almost half the holes, so pretty incredible performance. And then last week was kind of more, it was a full field event. The first event, the Century, you just had 60 players, and last week was 144. So you kind of opened the door for some people who we maybe haven't heard of or whatever. But to answer your question, I do think, and for our Alabama listeners, and I'm not saying this because we're in Alabama, but I do think Justin Thomas, a guy who went to the University of Alabama, hasn't won in 3 years, Chase, which is amazing when you think about it. But I do think it's going to be a big comeback year for him. I had a chance to talk to him in Maui, and he really feels good about his game. And you hear that a lot from golfers, but I do think it's about time for him to crack back in the winner's circle. And then the other guy this week, the defending champion, is Nick Dunlap, the 21-year-old kid from the University of Alabama, who caught lightning in a bottle last year at this time, at this event, and then his whole life changed. He was going to play at Alabama for his junior and senior years, and then a week later chose to turn professional. And I saw him in Hawaii. He played pretty good. He topped 10 last week at the Sony. So those are 2 guys that I really and maybe my heart is in their circle, the fact that they are Alabama guys. But I do think that Dunlap is a supremely gifted kid, 21 years old, won twice last year, and I do think he'll continue that development and that that success. And then for JT, it's about time, man. The last time he won was the summer 3 years ago when he won the PGA Championship. Amazing a guy of that caliber hasn't won, but then again, it shows you how tough it is to win on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, there's a lot of great golfers, and I wanted to ask you about Justin Thomas specifically. When I was thinking about him, what is it do you think that is, besides other great golfers around him, that's led to this kind of struggle that he's been on to win tournaments? What it is about his game, and what do you think has been his kind of focus to get back there on top?
Well, in simple terms, it's putting, and that's the key. If you look at his statistics, and we keep up with this on PGA Tour Radio a lot, strokes gained, putting, strokes gained, everything. And he is way down the list. Ever since he won the PGA Championship, his putting has been on the downfall. And, I mean, he is he is outside the top 100 putters on the PGA Tour, and you just can't be successful if you're not. And listen, his scoring clubs are pretty good. He's still an elite iron player. He's still really good around the greens. He just can't hit enough putts, and he's tried everything. He's switched putters. He's switched putting coaches. He's switched strokes. He's switched grips. And listen, all these guys go through this, but I think he's finally comfortable with some of the changes that he's made, and that's what he simply needs to hit more putts, and we'll see what happens. And the other thing about JT too, and we need to at least touch on it, is the fact that he's married now, and he and his wife celebrated the birth of their first little baby just a few months ago. And when these golfers, these elite golfers, anything that changes the dynamic changes their game, changes their focus, and he is so excited to be a dad. But then again, you're not concentrating solely on golf. Not a negative at all. It's just, when you're fighting, hey, I need to get better at putting, and oh, by the way, I got responsibilities at home that I never had before. It changes it changes everything for these golfers. And he is one of many that go through this. So I think everything is good with him right now. It's balanced, we should say. And I do expect a bounce-back year for Justin Thomas. Again, he is a star. He has 2 major championships. He's won 15 times on tour. It's about time for him to come back.
We're talking with Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio. He joins us this morning. You mentioned Nick Dunlap a few minutes ago. I wanted to talk to you about him because last year at the American Express is when we kind of saw him, like you mentioned, come out win that one. He was, he played great in his kind of debut season last year. Talk about him, kind of what you think he's working on, getting ready for a new season. Again, young guy, he's got a lot of golf ahead of him, but what do you think his focus is this season?
Well, the thing about Nick Dunlap, and for your listeners, maybe you've seen him on television. Listen, most golfers are small in stature. They're just not big people. Nick Dunlap is a tall guy, broad shoulders, long arms, big hands. If you just saw him walking around, you think, wow, this guy is an athlete. This guy's a basketball player, right? But he's a golfer. And that makes him different in a lot of ways. Number one, he just hits it a country mile. And most of these guys do hit it a long way, but, he is on that upper tier. So he can go really long, and when he gets it going, he's 21 years old. So when he gets on a streak, I don't think he's thinking about anything but golf. He's just in that mode, right? And he hasn't got to the level now where he has any issues. A lot of golfers, once you've been out there 5, 10, 15 years, it's like a lot of stuff starts creeping in. He's just a kid, and I think he's having fun, and that's the key with Nick Dunlap. And to think that he won last year twice, the first time as an amateur, first time in more than 30 years an amateur won on the PGA Tour, and then at the end of the year, he comes back and wins again as a member of the PGA Tour. That had never been done in history. And so pretty special what he accomplished last year. So I think he is a supremely gifted young guy who isn't worried about anything. He's on a wild carpet ride right now, and I think he'll just keep playing well. He top 10'd at Sony, and I will say he was out in Hawaii with his girlfriend, who he was going out with at the University of Alabama, and they were just a couple of young people having the time of their lives. So I think that's the bottom line, Chase. I think he enjoys where he is. It took him a little adjusting. Everything is new. Staying in new places, flying different ways, new golf courses, on the road all the time. But I think he's finally adjusted now. Very, very comfortable. And I think when you're that gifted and you're 21 and you're finally comfortable in your surroundings, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. The American Express this weekend. You mentioned you'll be there, covered at PGA Tour Radio. What can folks expect from this year's Amex?
Well, it's fun because they call it golf in a dome because the weather is absolutely perfect. We're talking about temperatures in the high 70s, low 80s, hardly any wind to speak of. You have those beautiful mountains in Palm Springs that kind of surround these golf courses that make for these just breathtaking views. and the golf courses are gettable. I mean, that's why last year Justin Thomas shot a 61 there, and Nick Dunlap shot 60. And we had a bunch of other guys shoot 62s and 63s. So expect a lot of birdies. That's why the players love it so much. And, these guys are really good, right? Chase, if you and I went out there and played, we would have fun, but we would not be recording these low scores. But these great players, they love it because no wind, gettable golf courses. It's target golf. It's kind of pretty, but they know where they have to put it. It's funny, Chase, the golf course, the stadium course where ultimately everybody plays twice. You go back and forth the Nicklaus course and then the stadium course. When it was first built, like back in 1980, the golfers on the PGA Tour, we're talking Nicklaus, Palmer, some of these guys, they thought it was a terrible golf course. They said, this is too difficult. This is crazy golf. And now here we are in 2025, and the players are like, wow, this is the easiest thing that we could possibly play, and we're having a lot of fun. So it kind of tells you where the game's evolved. The golf ball, the equipment, the players, everything changes. And now over a course of about 3.5 decades, the players go out there with the one idea of how low can I go? And so that's what we'll have at the Amex this week.
How can folks listen to you guys as far as PGA Tour radio goes, and what does the coverage look like as you guys get ready for the weekend?
Well, I tell you, Chase, there's more coverage now on the PGA Tour than ever before. And as far as radio, we're on Sirius XM, PGA Tour Radio. In fact, it's channel 92 on Sirius, or you can go to PGATour.com, and we're on the app. All you have to do is click on it. But also PGA Tour Live, which I'll be involved next week. There's 4 live streams every round of every tournament, and it's on ESPN Plus. And I know I have Hulu at home, and it's just part of my package. But I know a lot of people subscribe to ESPN Plus. So Chase, listen, if you're a golf fan, and I know you are, and I think our audience is growing. TGL was last night, the Tiger debut on the made-for-TV Inside Golf League. So, listen, golf's gone through a tough time the last few years with the advent of live golf, et cetera. But I do think we're in a real positive place now, and I think over the next 12 to 24 months, professional golf, the PGA Tour in particular, is going to start growing in popularity. I think it took a dip, but I do think now as things become a little clearer and everybody kind of comes together and are talking about the PGA Tour and live, I think we're in a good spot as far as professional golf, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, a very good thing. Doug Bell, you can hear him, part of the PGA Tour radio there on Sirius XM, PGA Tour Live. Doug, really appreciate your time today. Enjoyed the conversation. We will definitely have to catch up again soon, but thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Hey, Chase, anytime. Give me a call. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That is Doug Bell with PGA Tour Radio joining us this morning talking some golf.